Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our live Thought Leader webinar series. For those who are new to our webinar series, my name is Betty Acker. I am part of our marketing department here at Stewardship Technology. Our goal with our webinar series is to provide tools, resources, and hot topics that impact nonprofits and faith communities. We're thrilled that you joined us today for our August Thought Leader webinar as we explore peer-to-peer fundraising. A little housekeeping first before we get started. For anyone that is new for joining our live webinar today, the chat feature below, you can utilize that to ask any questions. If we don't catch your questions right away, we'll be sure to catch those at the end of today's Thought Leaders presentation. And for those that are joining us after the recorded session, please feel free to comment below and our team will respond to you directly with any questions that you may have with today's Thought Leaders presentation. Today, our guest speaker is our very own Trey Swallow. Trey is the Director of Customer Support and Sales at Stewardship Technology. Trey will be sharing with us today a buzzing trend with online fundraising. Trey is an expert in fundraising, in the fundraising world, and is a great resource for us to invite today as our thought leader. Today's webinar, we wanted to share with you a unique fundraising alternative, which is peer-to-peer fundraising. We'll take a look at choosing the right campaign, steps how to create the momentum around the campaign, how the campaigns really work, the ins and outs of those, and some of the best practices. And we'll also briefly go through Giving Tuesday, which Giving Tuesday is right around the corner. So right now is a great time to begin thinking about that big event. So we'll get started. Today's thought leader, like I said, is Trey Swallow. Trey started as an elementary teacher, transitioned from missionary to Bulgaria, then he transitioned to sales. Trey has been in sales for 12 years, and with Stewardship, he has been with us for 6. Trey is married to Carla, a professor of psychology, and a father to Briggs and Corinna, which is pictured to the left here. Trey loves working with Stewardship because he loves to see the positive impact it has with 501(c)(3)s that are making in this country, finding it rewarding work. And Trey believes in the mission at Stewardship that is our mission to help you fund your mission. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Trey Swallow. So let me go ahead and unmute you, Trey, and welcome.
Thank you, BJ. I appreciate it. And a welcome to everybody that's joined the call today. I see a number of names on the registration list that I'm familiar with or have talked to in the past. So it's good to speak to you guys again. And for those of you that may be new to me, welcome again. And I'm excited to talk to you guys today about peer-to-peer. And what that is it's just another type of fundraising. We'll get into why it's so important. But I think, part of the thing that I love about Stewardship is that one of our focuses is not just bringing customers onto our fundraising platform, but it's the education portion of it as well. And that's really what I seek to do today, is just to educate you guys today on why peer-to-peer is such a great option in the world of fundraising. Because at Stewardship, we really believe that across the generations, all givers give in a variety of different styles. And we want to be able to prepare our customers and to give you guys an idea of how to meet those donors where they give best and how they give best. And what we're seeing in the marketplace now, and as we, we'll go into the future a bit, is that multiple strategies of fundraising are the most effective way to bring in the most money. It used to be there was just a donation button, which Stewardship kind of started with. And then Stewardship has evolved into text to give and to event registration and to peer-to-peer, just as our donors' giving habits have evolved as well. And that's what we want to kind of focus in on today, is one of those strategies in peer-to-peer. And a lot of times when we talk about peer-to-peer, there's another topic that comes up, and that's crowdfunding. So I wanted to take a second just here at the beginning to kind of differentiate the two and what that means for you guys using a peer-to-peer platform or a peer-to-peer platform like Stewardship has. So crowdfunding, let me start there on the left. Crowdfunding, what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is generally a fundraising technique used by individuals or nonprofits to raise money for a specific event or cause, bringing people together around that cause to raise money for a specific thing. It's a specific thing I want to get across on this one. So if we go back one page, BJ. Thank you. So, for example, of the crowdfunding, an organization might need to raise money for a capital campaign for a new gymnasium or something. And what you can do is set up a page on your site and then go out. You'll track the donations that come in from people socially and raise money for that specific capital campaign. Now, it's a little bit different on the peer-to-peer fundraising world, is that peer-to-peer mostly is done by nonprofits. And what it is peer-to-peer is engaging loyal supporters, your most loyal donors or advocates of your program to raise funds on the nonprofit's behalf. It almost also always centers around some event, but instead of the organization being the main focus of that fundraising, you're empowering others to raise funds on your behalf. So go ahead to the next slide, BJ. What we're seeing in the marketplace right now, and I'll give you a second to kind of look at the statistics here, is that we had a recent study of the industry about the efficacy of peer-to-peer fundraising as it relates to kind of traditional fundraising around events. And you can see we kind of got 4 different categories here on the PowerPoint here. The cycling, a race, an endurance would be a longer race, people paying registration fees, and people paying no registration fees. And then what it breaks it out into is a couple different categories of how much money can come in from those various aspects of arranging an event. So a lot of the nonprofits that we work with have spring fundraisers and fall fundraisers, and a lot of those around banquets or around walk, race, and runs in the fall, various things like that. And you can see what this graphic will tell you is how much money can come in from the different parts of that. The actual registration, bringing in funds to the registration, people donating a lot of through the online self donations. A lot of times people can't come to the event themselves, or they're self donating, they've registered and made a donation themselves. And then you can see this other item that's called online fundraising, and that's your peer-to-peer aspect of it. So being able to register either as a team member and then share it out to your social space, or in a crowdfunding aspect, being able to share with all of your friends, you can see what a difference that online fundraising component makes. Double, triple the amount of revenue that can be raised for these different types of race one walks or banquets or anything like that by using a peer-to-peer platform and social sharing. The next slide is going to give us a couple additional numbers. So right on the right-hand side, you heard me start off and talk about generational giving habits. You know, I think we all know or recognize that a lot of members of the younger generation, they don't carry cash, they don't carry checks anymore. They do almost everything online. But I think what's surprising to me is that your baby boomers, or even your 70 and up, who would you would think would maybe need some education to do some of these things, you know, they're just as effective in this peer-to-peer situation and receptive in that peer-to-peer situation. And one of the reasons for that, and we'll see it a little bit later on in the slides, is that peer-to-peer is so effective because it's your brother telling you, your uncle telling you, your sister, your best friend telling you that this is something that you should do. That's the benefit of social sharing around peer-to-peer fundraising. Is it's not an organization saying, hey, this is a good cause to give to. It's someone, a person, an individual that you have a relationship saying, I vouch for these people. This is good. I am supporting them. You should support them too. Or you should support me as I raise funds for these guys because I believe in it. So you can see all of the generations that are receptive to it. I think the piggy bank is one of my favorites. Average fundraiser, $568 from 7 donors. The cool statistic there is that of the 7 donors on average, 4 of those 7 will be brand new donors to your donor database. It's that reach again. right? The reach of the peer-to-peer. You've got 3 of your staunch supporters reaching out to additional people that can now be part of your network because of that person-to-person vouching that happens with this. You can see social fundraising dollars grew 70%. 1/3 of all online donations made through peer-to-peer platforms right now. Those are huge statistics, right? So you're thinking, I've got to take advantage of this, and you do absolutely have to take advantage of this and get involved. One of the other statistics that's not up here that I believe kind of goes along with this is that in kind of the recent report that I'm pulling some statistics for, 9% of younger donors report that their first gift was prompted by receiving promotional materials from a nonprofit, like an email. But 20% of those younger donors reported that their first gift came from talking to friends or families as they became interested in donation. So I think what you gotta, I hope you're catching on right now about what that relationship is in that peer-to-peer space. A trusted person vouching for your organization. Let's move on to the next screen. So what does it look like? And this is part I think that gets me maybe the most excited about peer-to-peer and fundraising is because obviously I'm in sales. You guys know I'm in sales. I'm the director of sales for Stewardship. Listen, I've got my own team of salespeople here at Stewardship, but if I can get other people to sell for me, oh man, that's easy. And that's what peer-to-peer is in some ways. You can see on the left-hand side more traditional organization-driven peer-to-peer stuff. And then on the right-hand side, you can see individual driven. And we're going to talk about do-it-yourself fundraising here in a second. But as you guys begin look at these pages and kind of start to think, where does my organization fall on this chart? Are we way to the left-hand side, traditional peer-to-peer stuff, which I think is where really most of us are? As we're inching more towards the right, we get into those giving days. BJ mentioned Giving Tuesday, huge day in November coming up where people can give to your organization. That's drifting over towards that more individual driven. And then as we talk way to the right hand side, we talk about people fundraising for your organization on their own. And that's kind of the full spectrum. So I would encourage you just to kind of take a self-assessment right now and say, how many of these options on the screen am I taking advantage of? Am I just way over to the left with the traditional peer-to-peer, or am I taking advantage of more ways for people to give to my organization or to support something that they are passionate about? Next slide. So this is the part I told you I like, the do-it-yourself sort of thing. All right. How can people become fundraisers for you? And what are the different ways that they can become fundraisers for you? And we'll talk about what that looks on your website here in a little bit, but giving your supporters a chance to support your organization, something that they're undoubtedly passionate about. How are they doing that? Hosting an event, donating a birthday, a raffle. I love the grow a mustache because that cracks me up because, it's creativity, right? Somebody loves your 501c and loves your organization and they're going to do anything. I think you can see on some of these, growing a mustache, you might have a challenge with that. And perks for how quickly it can go or whatnot, that may not be a huge money maker as much as a 5K might be, or as much as some of your organizational structures, but these guys are passionate about it and they're raising funds for you. They're doing it for you. And it doesn't, that's the part that gets me. It may be a small event, but it's stuff that they're doing for you. It's extra hands, it's extra arms supporting your mission and your organization. Next slide. If we're going to go through two slides of statistics here pretty quick, but I just want to show you as I kind of further expound on the do-it-yourself fundraisers, where you allow people to become fundraisers for your group, look at the amount of programs and participants that do-it-yourself is doing. If we look at the areas and we'll see it on the next slide. Let's not go there yet, but we'll see it on the next slide. The areas of growth year over year, do it yourself, this portion of peer-to-peer, this segment vertical of peer-to-peer is growing hugely. You know, what statistics are telling us about the overall industry is that people are becoming less and less inclined to give to organizations and more inclined to give to causes. And that's where the do-it-yourselfers come in. They're raising money for specific things that are part of your 501c3. Let's go to the next slide, BJ. This is where you're going to see year over year growth in some of these types of events. And you can see do it yourself is in gray. And I want you to focus there kind of on the gray section there about how much this is growing, right? You guys are empowering your advocates, empowering your leaders to raise funds on your behalf and help your ministry grow. Why would you not want to do that? And this is people, this is what they're most interested in. What they're most interested in. Go ahead to the next one. So what do we do? How do we do this? So a couple different words. Get the word out, right? That's the main gist of the slide here. Do you see that button right below donate? Okay. Fundraise. Fundraise. Okay. If you don't have a fundraise button on your website, you got to get one. You got to get one. And it's just as easy as putting a donate button on your website. When you click on that donate button, they're going to take you to a giving form. When you click on that fundraise button, they're going to take you to a peer-to-peer platform where they can still give if they want to give, but they can also create their own team and raise funds for you. They can join an existing team with their friends and raise funds for you. This is building advocates, building the reach of your organization. So I would encourage you, if you don't have a fundraise button right below your donate button or right above your donate button on your website, you got to move to that. You got to move to that. Let people speak your praises. I oftentimes, once again, sales director guys, if I can get someone word of mouth to refer to other people, those deals that come in from that are the strongest, the easiest deals to convert. Because if Johnny said that you were good, then I'm in. If Steve said that this was the best, I'm in. Karen said this changed her world, I am in. If you guys don't have that fundraise button on your website, get it on your website. And then the next two, this is just ways to get the word out. Sending your email campaigns. Each of your email campaigns focus on marketing for a specific thing for your 501c3, right? You got a donate button there. You got a link to give to whatever this cause is. There should also be a link to fundraise for that call. If you feel a burden for this, or you feel a call to this, or this just kind of tingles your heartstrings for some reason, click on the fundraise now link in this email. Become part of our family, become part of our organization, and let's do this together. Let's join hands, let's raise funds, let's make a difference. And then, of course, share on social media. We're going to see a video here in a second that just kind of talks about, you know, how quickly this spreads. And when you think back to that statistic I gave you earlier, you know, the average donation, 586, 7 people, 4 are new. You know, think about the reach that you have through peer-to-peer. Beyond your traditional donor circle, out into the friends, the family, the masses that may not have known you previously. Go ahead, BJ. So when we talk about it, get that fundraising button out there, okay? Get your peer-to-peer campaigns set up. And then obviously more statistics here, but the statistics on this particular page are going to talk about, you know, maintaining those fundraising campaigns, updating your people. If you think about social media world, Instagram world, how quickly that changes in some ways, how quickly a new picture goes out, or if you're raising money for a capital campaign of sort, a building shot, you know, a new picture comes out and then that immediately gets shared across your network. You know, regular updates and videos about how your campaign is doing can drive those donations. So you can see on this page, and I'm not going to go through all the statistics, you can read them as I'm talking, but updated pages on a regular basis between no page updates, keeping people engaged in your campaign, in your peer-to-peer fundraising platform by regularly updating them on the pages of almost all peer-to-peer campaigns. And you're going to see it a little bit later on. There's always a donation. Hopefully there's a donation button that's going to say how close you're getting to your goal, making sure people understand that what they're doing is making a difference. Next slide, BJ. Here's the other thing, okay? It's perfectly easy for me to say, put a fundraising button on your website, put it in your emails. But I want you to think about this and let this sink in for a second about the intentionality of these campaigns that you're doing. Some of you have for years run spring and fall campaigns, banquets or race one walks or something. But this screen talks about the intentionality of it. Returning participants versus new participants. If you continue to do these events or start events and run them year after year from the same peer-to-peer platform, the increase in reach, the increase in money, the increase in average gift amount, you can see all of those from the intentionality of this is what we want to do as an organization. This is who we want to be, and we're going to continue to do it year after year after year to fund our mission. And that intentionality speaks worlds to your donors. And you can see it in the statistics here. So I wanted to give you all that kind of background statistics and data. I'm going to sum it up here in a video in 1 second. But I hope you're getting, I hope this video kind of sums up what I was talking about there, about how important it is in peer-to-peer to reach others, to raise more, to allow people to become advocates for you. Let me go ahead and show it here. We'll get the audio going, and it should sum everything up. Go ahead, BJ.
Peer-to-peer fundraising versus traditional fundraising in 60 seconds flat. Round 1, reach. With traditional fundraising, nonprofits reach out to their network for donations. With peer-to-peer fundraising, that network can reach out to their friends and family as well, increasing your reach exponentially. Round 2, likelihood of giving. With traditional fundraising, only about 1 out of 1,000 will give. With peer-to-peer fundraising, it's more like 1 out of 4 because it's friends asking friends. Round 3, giving amount. With traditional fundraising, donors hold back on the size of their donation. With peer-to-peer fundraising, closer connections mean donors give about 52% more. There you have it. Peer-to-peer fundraising is the future.
Thank you, BJ. Go ahead for the next slide there.
Peer fundraising.
I hope that kind of sums it up. They did it in 60 seconds. I know I was a bit longer when I talked about it, but of course we want to transition over to what Stewardship's doing out there in this space. I think you could hear the excitement in my voice about this type of fundraising because it's so personal, building advocacy for your organization. And Stewardship, as many of you know or have seen some of our marketing or have even talked to me, it's our goal at Stewardship, our mission, to help fund your mission. And we do that through our all-in-one platform. And of course, peer-to-peer has to be part of that platform. And we do that through our Together We Raise peer-to-peer solution. So what does that look like? Go ahead, BJ. So many of the things that we talked about, and I love this. I wish I could hear you all go "aw" for the baby, but I can't hear you. But this is one of the campaigns that's running right now on our peer-to-peer platform. But of course, we're gonna consider the whole campaign. You can see down there at the bottom is story, and below story is a big section for pictures and videos. Allow people to join you in your mission, to understand your mission, to understand what they're trying to do. You can see on the page, join the team, become a team member. You can see Aaron Rodgers' team right here. The ability to donate, the ability to share, This is our platform that's going to allow you to reach socially all of those different donors that you're not reaching today, and to build advocacy for your organization. Go ahead, BJ. You've got the ability to throw, this is what I'm talking about behind the fundraising button. You guys can build landing pages, and I know this Trey's fun event with the gray screen isn't exactly fun, and I apologize for that, but the ability to become a fundraiser as an individual, joining a team, creating a team. This is what that fundraise button looks like on your website. This is the action that comes out of that when they click on that fundraise button. Go ahead, BJ. Teams. As I mentioned, people raising on behalf of you. This is what the back end looks like for teams. Building your own team page. You've got your parent campaign. That's you guys as the 501c3s and nonprofits. You guys are the parent campaign. That's what everybody's given to. And underneath that parent campaign are all your teams. Individual members raising money for you and being able to send out registration links for their teams, view their team members, communicate with their team members, all through the platform. Go ahead. Mobile responsiveness. And you can see, I know you saw my family a little bit earlier on the first side. That's my baby girl when she was young. Just a shout out to my girl, Corinna. But mobile responsive web pages, custom questions at the top. For those of you that have heard the term gamification in some ways in the fundraising area, running contests or allowing perks, all of that can be done through the Together We Raise peer-to-peer solution. Go ahead, BJ. Of course, socially sharing. I think you're all catching that by now. The reach of peer-to-peer, and being able to socially post, hey, there's a new pick. Hey, there's a new update. Hey, I just made a donation. You need to make a donation. You need to make a donation. All my friends, everybody needs to get on board with this, because this group is making a difference. Go ahead, BJ. So I want to wrap it up here at the end. I hope today that I've given you some good information and maybe some solid statistics on why peer-to-peer should be part of your overall solution. And that's always what we're looking for at Stewardship, is that you have a complete giving strategy. And I hopefully this resonates with some of you today, that if I can get advocates to fundraise on behalf of me, those executive directors that are on the call thinking, I have limited resources and I have volunteer people. If you could get people to raise funds on behalf of your organization that aren't, paid salary members or volunteer, I hope that's resonating with you, because this is the platform to do it on. So what we've got here, and BJ will wrap it up here in a second, I hope that you've gotten some information on peer-to-peer, seen just a little bit of what that looks like on Stewardship's peer-to-peer option. And if you guys have any interest in any of this stuff, I know we're going to send out an email afterwards with a link to the training so you can see it again and get a closer look at those statistics. If you guys have any desire to learn more about the peer-to-peer fundraising platform or Stewardship in general, you can see my email and phone number right there on the page there, and BJ will also include that information in the email that goes out afterwards. Sorry, BJ, didn't mean to steal your thunder here. Did I get it all?
Oh, you're good, Trey. Thank you so much. That was great.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you again, Trey. And thank you for sharing your expertise with peer-to-peer fundraising. And thank everyone for joining us today on today's webinar. And Trey has provided us with a lot of great resources that we can utilize. And if you're interested, like Trey said, feel free to contact him directly with the contact information that is on the screen in front of you. And again, thank you all for joining us. A copy, like Trey said, a copy of today's webinar will be sent to you via email that you can look back onto as a resource. You can also explore other resources and tools on our social media pages, as well as our website at stewardshiptechnology.com. There you can also find future webinars, products, services, as well as trends and hot topics that we have for nonprofits and faith communities. Again, thank you all so much for joining us today, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye.